Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is HD StarCraft, and I'm here to bring you guys another Heart of the Swarm broadcast. And today we're going to be looking at the blue Protoss player at the top right-hand side of this map, and he is d.Bling. And this is going to be my first game casting a Bling, actually, in Heart of the Storm. I think I casted a few games of him in StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, but he is a very talented player, competes at a high level in StarCraft 2, and this should be pretty exciting watching another one of those top-tier pros here. And his opponent is going to be against PwFTails, and he is going to be the red Terran player in the bottom left-hand side of the map. And the map is Daybreak, which is a traditional classic map. We do have a little bit of conversation going on right now as Tails is asking Bling what he thinks about Heart of the Swarm so far. Don't confuse this Tails with the Tails from Korea. That's not the same one. This is just a different Tails, obviously. And Bling here is saying that he's finding Heart of the Swarm to be pretty cool and fun. By the way, guys, if you guys haven't been keeping up to date with Heart of the Swarm, there has been some new footage, of course, being released with the Heart of the Swarm single player, and its release is now only a few months away since we are now in 2013. It is scheduled to come out in March, remember, guys, so it's only a few months away now, and you know, I can't wait to get my hands on the game. I'm going to probably try to cruise through single player first and beat the game, and then after that, probably you know, give my shot, give it my all on the StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm ladder, which of course will be very difficult. It won't be the same like Wings of Liberty, I don't feel like, because everyone's gonna have a head start. All the top players, all the pros, you know, have been playing this game in the beta form for a very, very long time now. And honestly, if you really want to get your hands on a beta key, it's not that hard to get, I would assume. You know, they've got to be flying around in the black market somehow. So I'm sure once the game actually comes out, it's going to be very competitive. I would not be surprised to see some high-profile tournaments picking it up and moving over from Wings of Liberty as soon as they get the chance to. Bling here does have his probe inside of Tails' main base. You know, I just want to say it's really cool to be able to watch. It's like a preview right now, watching all these games, casting all these games, and seeing how the pros are going to adapt to all the new builds and strategies and whatnot. In fact, Bling just mentioned a few seconds ago that he loves the new strategies available in Heart of the Swarm. Apparently, he's only played against Terran a few times here. That is what you expect to see when you cast a game of a high-profile player who plays Wings of Liberty professionally for a living. They probably haven't been touching Heart of the Swarm too much. For example, TLO has not been playing HOTS at all. And I've actually been asking him, hey man, do you have any replays? I'd love to cast some of your games, but he's told me, you know, I'm not playing Heart of the Swarm right now because I'm making money playing Wings of Liberty, and I want to, you know, play that to the best of my ability. And when the tournaments start switching over to Heart of the Swarm, that is when I'll make my actual full-on switch. So can't really blame the players here, like the high-profile players like Bling, for, you know, only playing against Terran a few times. But that should make this game interesting because it's almost like we're going to be watching in his mind now what kind of builds, what kind of strategies he's going to go for. And it does look like we do have a Stargate coming with a Mothership Core coming out right away from the Nexus. So probably going to be seeing some, I mean, obviously Stargate's coming down, we're going to be seeing some type of quick Stargate unit, but the question here is it going to be a Void Ray, Phoenix, or Oracle? What will be the first unit coming out of that Stargate? The Oracle is a great harassing unit for all type. It can hit everything, so it's an effective worker harasser as well as a harasser of other units on the ground as well. But there is a Stargate coming from Tails, so he should be prepared for this. He's even placed 2 Widow Mines down at the front of his ramp and blocked it off with supply depots. Here comes the Mothership Core from Bling, though, and there is no Marines here yet, but there is Widow Mines which are on the way back. And Bling, he's being very bold with this Mothership Core, but he's got to get it out of there before the Widow Mines throw down. 3 seconds. Can he get it out in time? And it looks like just barely. Now, even if the mine hits, it only does 120 damage, so it won't kill the core off outright. And Tails has to be careful here as well because the splash damage from the Sentinel missiles will also hit the SCVs, and it does 40 splash, so it almost kills an SCV if these mines actually latch onto the Mothership Core, and Bling might even be aware of that. That might be why he's brought this Mothership Core, but it's like, well, you know what, if you're going mech, do you really want to use Widow Mines against my Mothership Core? Because you've got to be careful. Now, this Mothership Core's already got 3 kills, and it's gonna try to get the Mule as well, I guess. No, the Mule's about to expire, so it doesn't matter, but great micro by Bling here. But there is a medevac coming out. Caught that at the corner of my eye. with 4 Widow Mines loaded up. So Tails is saying, all right, you want to be aggressive, you want to harass me from the sky, then I can return the favor as well. I've got a medevac, and it is using its afterburners now to get quickly over to your side of the map. And I don't know if Bling saw that medevac coming out. He might have heard it. You know, that loading sound that you hear when you load Widow Mines or units into a medevac, and in fact he has the Void Ray back here, but the mines are burrowing down the probes! Oh my god! Absolute carnage right there. Those probes just ripped through the probe line. Those Widow Mines just ripped through the probe line, and Bling now saying, lol, imbalance much. But, you know, the thing here is you've got to remember that he's only played Terran a few times, so this is almost like a window into seeing how the Terran players, once Heart of the Swarm comes out, how are they going to adapt to Heart of the Swarm? You know, they're not used to these kind of abilities, they're not used to these kind of drops. When you watch a player like, say, Cats or Shy Moon or White-Ro, who's been playing this a lot more, they're able to counter this more effectively, but Bling here is even asking, hey, how do I stop that? That's a 40-second cooldown, alright. That was really effective, and let's just look at the workers killed. 16 workers killed already, so Bling, ouch, big loss right there. And obviously, he's just kind of probably laughing to himself in his head, thinking, well, those are really, really OP. He even typed it out. But you can stop them. You can stop them. They're not that bad. It's kind of like dodging a Psystorm, really. Templars come into your base, dodge the storm. Here comes an Oracle coming in, though. Bling gonna try to take out a few SCVs, but unfortunately the Vikings are there. Now, all throughout this ordeal, he's actually not as far behind as you would think, because he's only lost 16 workers, and he's actually killed off 10 with the Mothership Core and the Oracle. So, not too bad from Bling, all things considered, but he cannot let this, oh god, another medevac coming in. He can't let these mines burrow under his probes. Oh my god, this is brutal. And the thing here is, you guys might be thinking, wow, most Protoss players should be able to stop this, but it is actually really hard to stop Widow Mine harass like this. I've had to deal with it a couple times on ladder already. Now it looks like we've had the Hellions coming in through the natural as well. Now this should be handled. Even though they are very dangerous, it looks like they're going to go down thanks to the Mothership Core's Photon Overcharge and a Void Ray as well. But what about the Widow Mines that are coming off cooldown? They're just killing off so many probes, and they're even doing damage to the Void Rays now. Looks like the Oracle is going to come in, use its Envision ability to help catch the Widow Mines underground. That's the other thing too, you need some form of detection. And now that the Mothership Core no longer has the detection ability, it's been moved back to the Oracle. You are required to get a Stargate or a robotics facility out there, or photon cannons, against a Terran player who uses this type of drop strategy. And so far, thus far, this has just been a wild ride for Bling. He's getting a rude welcome to Heart of the Swarm. We'll see if he can recover. Now, you know, he's, like I said before, top-tier professional Protoss player in Wings of Liberty. We'll see if he can get it together here. He's really not that far behind. When you look at it, he's got the same number of workers as the Terran player does, and yet he's lost 20 more than the Terran has. So we'll see if he can recover here. He's got to be careful about those mines that are planted down, though. They do so much damage. Now, thankfully, as a Protoss, you know, you've got shields. If it eats through the shields, your shields will regenerate. We do have a mine here that's being revealed by the Oracle, and it will be picked off by that Stalker. The nice thing for Bling is he is on 2 bases. He's actually going for a fleet beacon right now, which is interesting, to say the least. I wonder if he's going to try to go for Tempests or Carriers or a Mothership. I'm not, you know, that's weird that he would go for the fleet beacon so quickly. You know, especially considering, man, he's taken quite a bit of damage so far. You'd be concerned about a potential Terran ground attack to follow up, but you know what? Tails doesn't really have all that much force at the front of his door. He's only got a tank, a few Widow Mines. He's really focused on making these drops happen here, so that's where the majority of his resources have gone towards. And here we go again. This time it's going to be Hellions, though. And 4 Hellions running in here. Now those probes are all lined up for the Hellion Hadouken shot, but it looks like not as many as you would have thought went down. Maybe about 9 more, which, you know, it all adds up, but could have been a lot worse there, I think, for Bling, and he is able to get out of there without losing too much more of his economy. And for now, it looks like his Stargate, his Void Ray army is revealed. If, of course, Tails didn't know about it before, he is facing off against quite a bit of Void Rays. Now, typically, as a Terran player, what do you do to stop these Void Rays? And you guys might be saying, well, you got to get a lot of Widow Mines, you got to get a lot of Vikings. That is true. Widow Mines and Vikings both are great counters to that if you can mix it, match it. Marines are also good too, but if you're already going down the mech route, it's very hard, obviously, to switch back to Marines. One answer that I still have yet to see Terran players actually try is the Thors with the high impact payload, because they do more damage to units that are not light. It basically gives them an attack that works against heavily armored air units. So that might be something we see Tails go for. It looks like there's an Oracle that flew back into the back of the main, but it was picked off here. It was able to get a few worker kills, it seems like, before it went down. But overall, you know, the worker kill tab, there's a huge discrepancy, but when you pull up the income, it's not that bad for Bling. And what is he going to do with this fleet beacon? That's the big question here. There are, you know, a couple of upgrades available. He hasn't gone for the Interceptor launch upgrade or the Phoenix range upgrade, and he hasn't really made anything to utilize the fleet beacon yet. I was thinking maybe he's going to go for a mothership so he can cloak his units. Obviously, Vortex is no longer available for Protoss. A lot of changes here, man. With all these patches coming out every week, it's kind of hard to stay up to date, but there are a lot of changes occurring in the world of Heart of the Swarm. Now, we do have a Tempest coming out, so there it is, the first tier 3, if you will, air unit, and Bling is really just going to go for Sky Toss here. This is a Sky Toss build, and no backup on the ground at all. We'll see if it's going to be a match for the mech army from Tails, who is going once again for a pretty heavy mech. Finally has an army at the front door. Got a lot of tanks, got some Thors, Widow Mines, Hellions, and Vikings overhead as well. Now, the thing here is the tanks really aren't going to be all that great. Typically, as you know, if you're going Terran mech, you got to get a few tanks, especially now that they don't require an upgrade for siege mode anymore. They just come out with siege mode. But the thing here is, actually, Bling doesn't have anything on the ground, so it's almost like the tanks are going to be pretty much useless except for helping to siege out buildings. But we'll see what happens here. It looks like the Hellions have converted into Hellbat mode. They do a lot more damage now with their napalm spray. Note, you'll see 18 damage versus light, they do 30. So it is an incredible amount of damage. The cone radius has been decreased. Of course, none of this matters because there's no ground army for Bling, and Bling now activating his prismatic alignment, trying to burst through these units, and it looks like the Widow Mines are also going off as well. Most of the Widow Mines, the minefield just taking out the Void Rays. Now, there are a couple of Tempests firing from their long range, but it looks like Tails is just going to push right into the probe line, has a couple of Hellbats in there, going to try to take out the probes. Meanwhile, Bling's a Sky Toss army trying to push this army back, going to take out the Thor that was in high impact payload. Got to be careful though, because those Widow Mines are about to come off cooldown, and when they come off cooldown, it's a high risk for Bling's Protoss units to fly in there. He drops a Time Warp field from the Mothership Core to try to slow the retreat of the Terran ground army, but actually ended up missing. Now, he needs to bring an Oracle or an Observer and take out these 4 Widow Mines. Those things can pose a serious issue if you're going Sky Toss, or if you're trying to main on probes. You definitely don't want to run over 4 Widow Mines. A lot of potential damage that can be dealt out in a short amount of time. And right now, does he actually have an Observer? He's trying to make a robotics facility right now. There it is. But it is a long ways away from finishing up. He should probably just go for an Oracle. That's what I would do. One hallucinated Phoenix now going over to the left to try to get some critical scouting information to see if there's a third base, which there is. Both players on a third base, in fact, as Tails comes in with more Hellions, but this time is blocked off by a pylon wall. Gonna have to go around the long way. Only has a couple of Hellions remaining and will not even be able to kill a single probe. Very nice wall right there from Bling, reminiscent of the old school pylon wall strategies in Brood War against vultures, in fact. But a couple more Hellions running around the back of the natural, and they are going to be able to roast up a few more probes, although that Tempest Void Ray army is getting pretty large at 1 weapons upgrade for the entire Protoss air fleet, with Stargates continuing to pump out Tempest at a rapid rate. We don't yet have a mothership coming out yet from Bling. He really wants to make this Tempest army work, but he's got to be careful because Tails, I would imagine, is just going to make a lot of Vikings. He's got, let's see, Vikings producing 2 at a time out of 1 starport. So not as many as you would have thought. And I feel like the Terran player needs to Tails needs to focus very heavily now on Viking production, because that is one of the only, if not the one and single only way to stop a mass sky toss army like this. By the way, those Widow Mines did go down because there's an observer in that air army right now. But yeah, maybe mass Vikings Ravens might work as well with their Seeker missiles. Remember the way the Seeker missile works now, it could work against air units which aren't as fast, I don't feel like, as ground units, especially not their acceleration. And hold that thought. Oh, wow. The probes mineral walking behind the two zealots right there. Nice micro from Bling, but it was a little too late. He lost a lot of probes, and he says that was sick. So sick. And right now his income has got to be suffering, but still has 64 workers, so not too bad. Look at this army though. 14 Tempests. Is about to be making an attack very soon, and will Tails be prepared for this? I don't know. He's only got 12 Vikings, and a Viking versus a Tempest head-on, Tempest almost will always assuredly win. But does he have any other units that can help, you know, abate this type of army? He's only got one Raven, not enough spellcasters, I feel like. Widow Mine count is pretty low as well. He's only got one. In fact, it's down here in the bottom right-hand corner. You know, Bling, despite taking serious amounts of damage this game, I think it's just so far ahead in terms of just his raw army, and just goes to show that his skill level is extremely high, to say the least. And this is scary, man. That's so many Tempests on the field. They're about to get +2 here for their air weapons, and really, unless Tails can get a bunch of missile turrets down, get a bunch of Vikings on the field, I don't know how he's gonna be able to hold off this attack. And here we go. Remember, these Tempests have a very large range as well. Now, they don't do as well against doors because they have two different attacks. Their attack versus ground is significantly weaker than their attack versus air when it comes to massive units. So, as you guys can see here, they're basically Broodlord killers. And then they have a nice attack versus ground as well, but not as good. Nevertheless, when will Bling decide to make his move? This is almost like watching Whitera play right now. This is how Alexi, aka Whitera, loved to play Protoss in the early days of Heart of the Storm. He just made Tempest after Tempest after Tempest, and it was very, very hard to stop. It's extremely powerful, but will this work? I don't know. I haven't seen this type of Protoss strategy in some time in Heart of the Swarm yet. It looks like Tails is going to try to throw away some Hellions now, because what good are they against this type of army? And while they try to, you know, clear up supply, they're also going to sacrifice themselves and try to get some probe kills, and it looks like they'll do just that. Actually lining up those probes for the rail shot right there, and they will take out a decent number of probes, which is good. And he's actually clearing up capacity to make battle cruisers. Now there's a unit you didn't think about when it came to stopping Tempest. And I almost feel like maybe it's not the right unit, because yeah, they come out with Yamato Cannon and that's great and they do a lot of damage and all that, but remember, the Tempest does extra damage versus massive against air. Look at the massive damage. It does 90 damage a shot versus massive with a range of 15. 90 damage a shot. Even a battlecruiser cannot withstand firepower of that magnitude. Not for that long. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But he is going to go for the BCs regardless. And he does have a decently larger number of Vikings now. He's got 18, 4 Ravens, 4 Ghosts as well, which some of them are idling back at home. But he's got some Ghosts in his army, which is good. He's going to need to launch some pretty sick EMPs here against Bling's army. And he's even making a nuclear missile right now. More Hellions actually coming around to try to roast up some more probes. And they're going to go right for the pocket expansion. And it looks like they'll get a couple more kills, killing off 76 now. As you guys can see, the Protoss still maintaining a decent number. He's on 5 bases. So he's even made gateways. Hasn't transformed them into warp gates, but he made gateways just so he could have a wall at the front. And now he's making them into warp gates just in case he needs to switch his tech back into ground. But look at this army. Holy cow. And this, yeah, exactly. This fight is going to be pretty damn interesting. We'll see how this goes down. Now, obviously, Tails has a lot more spellcasters. Actually, no, he doesn't, as Bling warped in a couple of Templar now. So to counter the Ghosts, he's made Templars. Storms will be nice as well. But I think more importantly, feedbacks on the Ghosts, feedbacks on the Ravens, and whoa, Blink is just gonna go right into the main here with his Tempest army. Up at the top side, I think a unit was fighting that Thor or something, but I don't know. Tails now coming in with his army. He's gotta be careful, he could get stormed, and there's a storm. Oh my god, Secret Missile's also coming down and locking on the redded units, but there's so many Tempests here. How in the world is Blink gonna lose this fight? Tails is just going to get absolutely ripped apart. 4 Archons now recycling out of the remaining Tempest and out of the remaining Templar, and Tails just has to call GG. All right, so wow, that was pretty nice from Bling. Pretty sick army right there of Tempests. And that ended up going down pretty quickly. I thought Tails was going to put up a little bit better of a fight, but unfortunately for him, I guess my prediction originally was correct. That Tempest army is damn strong. And that just goes to show, you know, yeah, you take a lot of damage in the early game from the Widow Mines, but a player of Bling's caliber, who's very experienced in the mechanics of StarCraft 2, can easily work his way back into the game, and this is what happens when you get this many Tempests. So GG, 28-minute game, but an interesting army composition from both sides, and I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. This is HD StarCraft, and I am signing out.